Well, welcome along to Matchday Live here on Fox's Hub for something we've not had to do many times this season, and that's talk about a Leicester City defeat. I'm Dan Bates. We've got David Nugent, Jerry Taggart here in the studio with me. Matt Elliott was on co-commentary. He stays with us as we assess that 90 minutes, which overall has been disappointing, Jerry.
Yeah. Listen, we spoke about it. That is the championship. You know, you've got a topsy-turvy team in Middlesbrough coming into town. I think Guy was saying that they're the second highest goal scorers in the league away from home. And you look at the stats, the shot stats in particular. I think they had 5 shots and they've scored 2 goals. So, yeah, really disappointing result. But, you know, Leicester had the chances in that second half to come back into the game. Just couldn't quite take them. And that's the reason why I keep harping on about the championship, because these things do happen in it when you least expect it. And today was one of those days.
There's a lot of frustration in there as well. You know, the final ball, the final passing behind was a bit too long, or one player will come to feet, move, and then the player will pass the ball out of play. You know, a lot of frustration out there for the players, but you got to give Middlesbrough credit. You know, they've got an injury hit squad and they've come in, you know, done a job on Leicester. But if you look at the stats there, we've had 24 shots, 2 on target, possession 70%, triple the amount of corners. You know, double the total amount of their passes. Nearly 700 passes. They've got nearly 300. So all that was good, but just the final third in the end was where we couldn't take our chances to get into the game.
Yeah, Matt Elliott, you obviously were watching on co-commentary for us. That's one of the frustrations, I guess, similar to the away game actually against Middlesbrough. Leicester had a lot of chances that day, couldn't put them away. Middlesbrough ended up taking all 3 points, and history has repeated itself today.
Yeah, to a level. I mean, I think those stats are sort of slightly misleading in terms of that there weren't golden opportunities. The 2 headers, yes, in the first half, they should be tucked away. Of course they would. But Leicester was struggling to sort of get their game going really fluently and carve open Middlesbrough. I thought Middlesbrough, you know, considering their situation that's spoken about in terms of injuries and their position in the league, and the form, etc., yeah, that was as good a performance you could hope for from them. But they were a genuine threat. And Nugent staying there, Jerry, sorry, only 5 shots. But they did look dangerous. They did look dangerous on the occasions that they did break forward. And Leicester weren't, I don't know, Leicester weren't fully switched on today, like whether it was defensively or attacking wise. Because, you know, the second goal, for instance, you know, it's a throw, goes short from Mavididi and it's nicked off Justin, but then that one pass and he's in on the middle of goal, and there's a huge gap between Vestergaard and Fass, and they weren't prepared for it. They weren't switched on and as alert as normal. And as Nude says there, lots of times players making a run one way and the ball's going the other, and it just had an accumulative effect. You know, you sort of felt resigned to the fact it wasn't going to happen for Leicester today from quite early on. Leicester still plugged away. It's the first time I've seen them put balls in the box like a mini barrage. You know, that showed how desperate the situation was becoming for Leicester, because they don't like to play like that. But yeah, it was. Listen, I'm not overly concerned. It was just one of those days when quite a few things were off the level that they're used to.
Yeah, I think he makes a good point there. And that's what happens when maybe you're not playing, or you're not 100%, that you're not switched on, or you're rushing things, or you're not playing a ball, you're afraid of giving possession away, so you're not playing not a high percentage ball, but a percentage ball to a point that but may possibly break the lines and get you in on goal. You tend to go for the safe option. We've seen a lot of that. And also, you know, Middlesbrough, without the ball, they got 10 men behind the ball pretty quickly. And so that makes it even harder to try and break down, even though we've seen it loads of times this season. Their back line was pretty solid. A lot of experience in that back line as well. So they all sort of knew what they were doing. But it's fair to say that Middlesbrough probably had the performance of their life, and Leicester just couldn't raise it to that bar on this occasion. But that's the championship. You know?
It was just the counter-attacks every time
Yeah.
Middlesbrough went forward. they went with numbers, and because Leicester were trying to push men forward to try and get the extra man in a different part of the pitch, they're just leaving gaps all over the place. And every time they got half turn on the ball, they played the ball out wide, and it was like 3-on-3 most of the time. And fair play to Michael Carrick for setting up that way. He wanted every man behind the ball, win the ball back up high, or in the final third, and try and counter us, and it worked a treat.
Yeah, it was game plan perfected in a way for Middlesbrough, but we can get on to the chances Leicester had and probably list a lot of them. The two headers in the first half, the Vestergaard header, the Daka header. Vestergaard had a chance with his left foot, didn't he? Vardy had a really good chance as well. They're just the ones off the top of my head I can think, and I'm sure there were more.
Yeah, but at that stage you could say we were pushing, we're throwing caution to the wind slightly. Dave's mentioned that, both centre halves were joining in, supporting the play at times. And so, and again, things are rushed. There was balls going into the box. Matty mentioned it like a mini barrage. It wasn't as precise as what we're used to seeing. The ball for Jamie Vardy's goal, what a great ball from Tom Cannon over the top. Two centre forwards linking up together. Tom Cannon obviously coming in from that left-hand side to collect that ball. So yeah, they caused, in that last, 25-minute period, I think they had a good start to the second half, all in all, but I think the last 25 minutes, the proper pile of pressure on. And on another day, they could have easily scored 2 goals, but today was just one of those days where, they just weren't capable of doing that.
You look at some of the chances, even the Jamie Vardy one. I mean, we said Vestergaard had 2. He is a central defender. Jamie Vardy, the striker, had that one. It's a good opportunity, and he's probably tried to dink it in the way that the Middlesbrough player Azaz did in the first half.
No, he has tried to lift it, but I don't think he's obviously meant to get that much on it. The keeper's coming out with his feet, so if he goes along the floor, the keeper saves it. So he has tried to let it hit his foot, but he might just been leaning back a little bit, and he skied it, got a bit too much on the ball. But Vard to be disappointed with that. You knew he should have hit the target at least, or made the keeper work. But he made up for it again. Getting Leicester back into the game. With a great run in behind again, a great finish again. Playing on the edge of the centre half, running in behind, and great rifle finish into the bottom corner. But if that would have came just 5-10 minutes earlier, potentially, Leicester might could have got something out of this game, maybe a draw.
As Matt says, there's not too much to worry about.
No.
Really, you do have off days. You don't have days where, you're not playing at your full potential, and opposition teams come off the back of a loss, as Middlesbrough did, and depleted squad, and for some reason they play out of their skin, and that was just what we've seen today. We've seen Leicester in the past after only once have they had back-to-back defeats and then go on a winning run, but we've seen every time they've been defeated before that, they've gone on a winning run, and I don't see any reason just on today why that won't happen again.
Yeah, you look at it, Matt, and you've already said it, there isn't a cause for concern. Leicester have played 33 games this season in the Championship and only dropped points in 8 of them. That is a brilliant record, and again, we spoke about it before, you 3 all have won this division. You know that you can't win every single week.
No, that's never going to happen with the duration of the season and the amount of fixtures. But listen, like you say, we've all played in this division and we know how it works. The level of consistency that Leicester have shown is incredible, really. Especially considering just going down and a change of players, manager, etc., new regime, new approach, and the way everyone's just sort of adapted to it is exceptional. But every now and then, I mean, sometimes you watch Leicester and they look imperious. They look a level or 2 collectively above the opposition, but that's probably not the whole truth of it. I still think it's definitely a work in progress, and Enzo Maresca would say that. But occasionally they come up for against a team who, not a million miles below them in quality, but they really apply themselves well, and they've got a bit of enterprise themselves, and they cause a problem. You have an off day. The gulf isn't that massive that you can cruise and stroll around. Not that Leicester did, but they just weren't properly on the job today, weren't they? They weren't in top gear, far from it, and it's come on stuck. What it does do, it puts a little bit of I hesitate to even say pressure, but it looks a little bit more on the game next week at Leeds. Leeds are flying right now at Elland Road, isn't it, on a Friday night, and you know they're going to have to be well prepared for that physically and mentally, aren't they? And it's going to be a hell of a game. But you know you wouldn't put it beyond Leicester to be able to turn on the works, you know, and go and get a great result there up at Leeds. But I wouldn't say loads riding on it, but now that there's more of an importance in that game now than there was. It changes week to week, doesn't it? That's why you just got to get on with your own business. As we keep saying, it's best you can, because it ebbs and flows. You have good weekends, bad weekends, whatever, but it's over the course of time. But a lot of people will be looking forward to and keeping an eye on that game on Friday night, though.
Yeah, and what a game to make amends. You know, obviously coming from a defeat at home in front of your own fans to go to Elland Road on a Friday, the atmosphere is going to be bouncing. Leeds are flying at home. What a chance for Leicester to go there and make amends, try and get 3 points, and get back to where they need to be on a winning trail, and trying to get them last few games over the line to to get back to promotion to the Premier League.
And also, when Leicester go to Leeds, Leeds will not set up like Middlesbrough set up today and try and make it difficult, and carry out the manager's plan to a T. By the way, so Matty's right. You do have to give respect to Middlesbrough and to Michael Carrick, but it'll be a totally different scenario when Leicester go to Leeds. With the way Leeds set up, they will go for the juggler. Invariably away from home. Leicester have the best away record in the league, so that will suit Leicester. So they've got nothing to fear going to Leeds. But Matty's right, they've got to be well prepared, because they've got a lot of pace at the top end of the pitch. They're obviously in a rich vein of form at the minute, Leeds, but more than capable of going there and getting some from the game.
Yeah, they absolutely were 100% prepared today. I know that's not what you're saying at all. The opposition obviously were carried out their game plan very well, didn't they? Is there anything they could have done differently, Leicester, or is it just a case of on another day those many chances Leicester had, they go in?
Yeah, it's a tough one, because we've all said it. You just have these days where you just cannot get into top gear. We've all been there. We've all had stinkers or bad games or whatever. We've all lost games of football at home in a league that you're running away with. It happens all the time. So I think individually, you go away from this and you make sure that you're as good as you can be, physically, mentally, prepared as an individual. And then obviously Enzo and his staff will make sure that the team are well versed in what the opposition will bring to the table. So not really. I think what you've seen today was, a bunch of individuals not playing at the best of their ability. And the second goal is probably a good example of that. Middlesbrough's second goal, where it's a poor pass from Steffi Mavididi back to James Justin. And Middlesbrough are well versed at hitting Leicester on the counter attack. Bang! It's one bad pass. Bang! It's a goal. We can talk about controversial the first goal, which I thought was a free kick, but it's the second goal that piles the pressure on Leicester, and it comes from one bad pass, and obviously the opposition, taking Leicester on at speed, at pace, and doing the job.
Yeah, you used to, like, for players having off games, you just need someone else then to step up and try and make a difference, but no one really did that.
We have seen that this season, haven't we?
Yeah. I thought Mavididi was not poor, but he didn't have his best of games, wasn't on his game. Fatu, not really on his game. Daka as well. Them front three weren't they use themselves, and when they're not playing well, you need usually Halls to step up, which he got subbed today for. He wasn't at his best, so.
It only changed really when Vardy came on.
Yeah.
Because he gives everybody a lift, doesn't he?
Because he's like such an icon for the club. The fans get a lift when he comes on, and obviously he missed his chance. If that goes in, I think we go on and get something out of the game. But when he does score, you can see he's rallying everybody up. He gets the crowd going. He's pumped the players up, to try and get that equaliser. But I think Tom Cannon, coming on playing that position, he did a good job down that left hand side. Vard's coming on scoring the goal. Yunus looks sharp getting on the ball in between the lines, trying to get on the ball as well. So maybe Enzo made a few wrong decisions, but what can you say? He didn't have so well this season. You can't just put one performance and write them off for the season. It's out the door now. On to Leeds Friday night. Yeah,
you look at the substitutions that were made, Matt. Obviously, okay, Yunus was swapped about a little bit. He went on the right hand side, didn't he, for 5 or 10 minutes, then went centrally. But Cannon linked up with Vardy, 2 of the substitutes for the goal. I think it was Cannon who played it in for the Vestergaard chance, McAteer who I think played it in for the Vardy chance. These were all the substitutes that combined for, well, the goal and then what could have been another couple of goals as well.
Yeah, I think the changes were justified, in that situation. The personnel were on the pitch, it wasn't working. So even if it's not down to a poor individual performance, it's just, the collective needs to be altered really and try and find a different routes. And he's not shy of doing that, is he, Maresca, really? I heard him last week, wasn't it, talking about standards really, and if people don't perform or don't have the right sort of attitude and outlook, then there'll be consequences. He said it's no problem, I'll just leave them out. And he'll do that, or he'll make changes in games. It's what he sees best, not about reputations, etc., is it? And Mavididi, Alien, I thought did quite well again. Pretty shrewd operator, isn't he? At times, then they doubled up as well, and Mavididi was forced to go back, and he didn't really get in situations where he could pick the ball up at pace and really get at his opponent. And it was a bit within himself today. And I thought that was justified, although albeit quite surprising, not McAteer. It was Cannon that goes out there, and I agree with Dave. I thought Cannon's done a good job. It looked to me like he's played out in that position before at some stage in his career. We're quite versatile, but that was a bit alternative sub, wasn't it? And then the next minute, Fataru's coming off, who probably looked Leicester's most likely source, really, although he was a little bit erratic as he can be. But again, they were doubling up on him, and he was being nullified. And he doesn't mess about, Maresca, does he? He's like, okay, bang, you can come off as well. And I thought he'd be coming on. It was Eunice who came on, wasn't it? I thought he'd be coming on instead of Pratt on that inside role, because I thought his quick feet in tight areas, as it proved to be, might be effective. But yeah, he's not shy of changing things, is he? Dewsbury Hall, I must admit, I was like, I'm not quite sure on that one. I mean, it wasn't Kiernan's best game by any stretch, but when you're in that situation, you'd have thought his qualities would be required. But in fairness, Leicester gave it a go in the latter stage, as you would expect. On another day, they could have scrambled their way back to a draw, but to me, it never really looked likely. I never ruled it out, but Middlesbrough looked so determined defensively. I feared the worst for Leicester today from quite far out, if I'm honest.
Jamie Vardy will, it's his 12th goal of the season today. Nuge off the bench. He'll fancy Friday, won't he? He'll be saying to Enzo Maresca, put me in that starting 11 at Ellen Road.
It's a perfect setup for Vards. He's not well liked down there. The Leeds fans, pretty despise him, but he's made for the game. Atmosphere Friday night on TV, just let him run ragged. He's 100% he'll play. I think Enzo's got to throw him in. He's obviously played against Sheffield, scored, come on again, made an impact, scored a goal today. Play him up top. It was just an off day today for the whole team, and come Friday, I'm sure the lads will be fired up, ready to go and ready to put another dent in Leeds.
Yeah, and he's a captain of the club now, and he'll galvanise the team. And in the dressing room before the game, and when you're sat in the dressing room and you're thinking, right, what are we going to expect here tonight from an informed Leeds team? He can be a calming influence, and the players will look at him leading the team out onto the pitch, and that just sort of settles everybody down a little bit. And hold on a minute, we're a good side here. We've got some decent players. Let's go out and show this lot what we're made of. And so, I agree with Dave. Set up fantastically well for a Jamie Vardy start.
We're going to just cross over pitch side now, Jerry, to Enzo Maresca, who is with our commentator, Guy Havard.
You are there until the end, but you miss chances. And the opposite, they take the chances. I think first half we didn't deserve to be 2-0 down. Then second half we continue in the way we were starting the first half, created chances, we miss. But it's football.
They played sort of without a number 9. Did they play a system that caused problems that other teams haven't played here at the King Power?
No, they play probably the only one game they played with this structure was against Chelsea in the FA Cup, I think, or Carabao, I don't remember. And they try tonight again. But overall, I think even if they were in different shape, we create many chances.
You made substitutions. Mavididi came off at half-time, and then Dewsbury Hall. Were they tactical? Were there any injury over them?
No, absolutely. Just a technical decision.
And do you think that made a difference? Do you feel that you were a different team when they came on?
No, it's just sometimes it's just to try to change something. We try, and I think Tom he did well. Also Yunus he did quite well, and also it's never easy when you go inside, so complicated. But just technical decision.
So what, apart from missing the chances, were you lacking today? Do you feel?
No, probably after we conceded the first goal, because we started very good. I think first half an hour the team was very good. Then after we conceded the goal, we lose a little bit of balance, conceding some counter-attacker that is not good. But overall, as I said, we were there until the end. We pushed until the end. They did a huge effort, but it's one of those days when you have to draw points.
Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you.
Cheers.
That was Enzo Maresca there speaking to our commentator, Guy Havard. Jerry, we'll let you have the very final say of the afternoon. We heard Enzo. He's obviously a frustrated man, isn't he? After that, I'm sure every manager is when their team loses a game at home, particularly given the fact that they had chances today.
Yeah, and I think that's the, the one positive you take away from that. It wasn't the perfect game. There was, mistakes, passing mistakes, shall we call it, but they still created chances. And so in a game like that, where the team are coming, sitting back, defending deep, defending for their lives, they still had opportunities to not only draw the game, but win the game outright. So a little bit unlucky.
A little bit unlucky, but we'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Jerry. We've got plenty more to come on Fox's Hub in the coming days. We'll be talking again about this defeat on Monday evening on Extra Time. So do join us from 6 p.m. for that. That's followed again then by that huge game away at Leeds at Ellen Road. It is a 8 o'clock kickoff on Friday, so do join us from 7 p.m. And there's a new podcast as well available with Sol Bamber in conversation with myself and Matt Elliott. A really good listen that for the former central defender. Big thank you to David Nugent and to Jerry Taggart, as well as Matt Elliott, for their company this afternoon. Don't forget part 2 of the doubleheader tomorrow, LCFC Women against Bristol City. Tickets still available for that one here at King Power Stadium. Hopefully they get a better result than what the men did this afternoon. But have a great week, everybody. We'll see you on Monday and then again on Friday.